Hi everyone, and welcome to this week's Tech Tip. Today we're going to take a quick look at how we can add sheathing to our floor panels. So unlike walls, we don't have the multi-layer option where we can add secondary layers and sheathing, but what we do have is a simple menu that allows us to add sheathing to our floor panels. So what I'm going to do is go to my floor module, and as you can see on my screen I have two floor panels. So the one on the left is a floor panel which already includes sheathing. And on the right, I have a frame panel, which is ready for sheathing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on my floor panel 2. I'm going to go to my MWF Pro Suite tab, and I'm going to go to my panel properties. So inside the properties, we have the option of choosing the panel members, but we also have the option of choosing to place sheathing. So from here, I'm going to go and click on sheathing, which takes me to my sheathing dialog box. So from here, I can choose to place sheathing at the top of the panel and at the bottom of the panel. I can click on Enable Sheathing, which will activate my configurable options for my sheathing. At the top here, I can choose the number of layers, so I can place additional layers if I want to. I can also reduce the number of layers. I can choose the family type that I want to use for my sheathing as well. I've also previously created one as well, so I can click on this one, and as you can see, this will automatically populate my dimensions for my sheathing, and we can go through the process of how that can be done later on. I can choose to flip the orientation of my sheathing as well from vertical to horizontal. So if I click on this, you'll see in the preview that changes the orientation of the sheathing. We can define the max sheet width, so we can define that here, or we can define that in the type properties for the family. We can choose the max sheet length as well, so what the maximum length that we're going to define. The thickness of the sheathing. If we wanted to place an offset or place a gap between the sheathing layer and the panel members, we can leave a gap in between. So for example, I could place a 1-inch gap between my sheathing and my panel. If I had an opening in my panel, I can choose to place a tolerance around the opening. So we can either extend around the opening by using a plus figure, or we can reduce the size of the sheathing by using a minus figure. The first sheet width, we can define this to be different to the actual width of our first panel, our sheathing member. This can be narrower, just to start with a narrower size for our sheathing member. We can also choose to add blocking at the sheathing edges as well. So we can choose to place sheathing. We can choose the family type to use as well. And we can choose a few more other options here as well, for example. If I wanted to decide how I wanted to stagger the sheathing, so I can choose to alternate or offset. Alternate will just allow us to alternate the maximum length from the start and then from the end side, allowing us to have a full size panel from the start, full size panel from the end, and alternate the sizes from there. And we also have the offset option where we can choose to place an offset for the sheathing at that position for our second sheathing panel. I'm going to choose the alternate option. But if we wanted to place an offset around the edges of our panel, we can also choose to place one on the left, at the top, bottom, and on the right hand side. And we can extend our sheathing beyond the panel on those edges. And if we wanted to reduce the size of the sheathing, we can use a minus figure here to reduce the size of the sheathing at those points. So I'm going to go ahead and click OK. And I'm going to go ahead and click OK again. And you'll see that this will make the changes to my panel. And as you can see, if I click on this panel, you can see it's also added blocking members at the panel edges as well. Okay. So if we wanted to define a new sheathing type or another sheathing type family, then I can click on an existing sheathing family. I can go to Edit Type, And I can then go ahead and duplicate the family. So for example, this could be 2x8. Okay, and I'll just change the width to 2 feet. Leave the rest of the dimensions to be the same. Okay, I'm going to go back into this panel properties. Okay, so go to properties. And then I'm going to choose my alternate sheathing family. So as you can see here, I have my sheathing type 4x8. I can now choose my 2x8. Click OK. And that will just add my 2x8 sheathing type to my panel. Again, if I wanted to see the offset as well from the panel, you'll see we have a short gap or a small gap just beneath the panel. Okay, so that's all for today, guys. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.